In this video, I want to talk about a couple of things. I have tried to answer a couple of questions on my YouTube channel, and one of them is not showing up at all. And that's a comment that is actually on the sewing machine, my 9913. And I want to just address something for really all machines. The person who posted that was saying that her model, and she listed a number, and that's really the serial number. And this is a 1588. It's an 88 as a treadle. It's an 89 with a hand crank. And this is very worn. If there ever was gold on there, it looks like there might have been on the numbers. But you don't see Singer Model 15 anywhere. And once you get used to Singer machines or identifying them, there's a very distinctive shape to the Singer 15. The 99 is different. The main difference is that it's a 3/4 size machine and only goes about this long and is much shorter left to right. But so here's a serial number, and what you want to look for to find your model number is either this one's from 1937, and it probably was on here at some point. Sometimes it's on the inside of the pillar. It can depend on where the machine was made, but somewhere either on this plate, or sometimes there's a plate here, or sometimes painted right on the column, it'll say a number. Like the 99 might say 99K, which would mean it was made in Great Britain, or it might just say 99. Another one that I always see numbered is a 185, which is also a 3/4 size machine. So this one doesn't have a model number, but that number is a serial number. And I'm going to combine an answer to two questions with this video. So to identify your machine, I'm going to put a link in the information section to a list of serial numbers, and it'll tell you the year that your machine was made and the model number that it is. And once you have the model number, you can get the manual, and once you have the manual, you can solve almost any problem that's going to come up with the machine, unless it breaks in some way, which is not very often on these old ones. So the second question was by someone who had a 1588, I believe, or a 15 of some kind, and wanted more information on the bobbin. Excuse me. But let's just talk about the 15 for a second. The tension unit is mounted on the faceplate. So if you were to take the faceplate off, the tension unit comes off with it. The other thing that the 15s have that the other machines don't have, there is your presser foot lever down. There it is up. And there it is up, up. It has a second level of up. And sometimes, depending on the tension unit, you actually have to take it up to that second level to get the discs, the tension disc, to release. Now, why does that have anything to do with the bobbin? Well, let's follow the thread path for a moment. So here's the thread guide on a 15, which then goes to the needle. And the other thing that's different from, I think all the 15s, I think all the Model 15s do it this way. The flat of the needle goes to the left, and the machine itself threads from the right to the left. And that's different from many of the other Singers. And the reason or the way that you can tell that is the thread guide is on the inside here and not on the outside. So you want to go to this thread guide, and then the thread guide over here, which is guiding you to thread the machine from the right to the left, which means when you change the needle, you want the flat of the needle pointing this way away from the machine. Now, that all has to do with the bobbin because a lot of times if you have the needle in wrong, you'll still get it to make a stitch, but it'll be loopy, or it'll be wrong, or then it'll just not pick up a stitch at all. And it could very easily be that the needle is in backwards. So now the Model 15s have a vertical mounted bobbin area. So you reach in, you take out your bobbin case. And the other thing that can cause excuse me, stitches that aren't correct is having the bobbin in wrong. So I'm holding it with the thread leading off what looks like the bottom in that view. And I put it into the bobbin case that way. So I've still got the thread leading off the bottom. I go into that little slit and then hold the bobbin still, pull the thread down, and there's a little opening under the spring where the bobbin thread then sits. So then you take your bobbin case and you open up that little arm that it has. You have the thread leading off the left of it, and you put it back in with the arm, that vertical arm, making sure that the vertical arm goes all the way in. So here's the vertical arm. The arm you were holding it with collapses, and the thread is leading from the left of the vertical arm. So now you have your bobbin in there correctly, and you have the machine threaded correctly, and you can just slide the plate closed, almost all the way closed. You don't want to grab that bobbin thread because it'll get stuck there and make it difficult to pick up a stitch. So now, and on singers you always turn the hand wheel toward you, and sometimes I pick up the thread depending on what I'm doing. When I have a hand crank on here, it's going to, the weight of the hand crank is going to have the needle end up downward, so I'm keeping it up a little bit. Now see how those stitches are just a little bit loose. Let me just cut that. And let's just... This is 2 layers of cotton. I'm tightening the upper tension a bit. You don't want all the thread to get in the way. And that, when the hand wheel ends with the needle down, that's called needle down. Some people like that. I sometimes get annoyed with it. I just want to check the stitches here. And it's hard for you to tell because I've used this for a lot, but they're right along here. And it's not loose at all now. And they're right along the top, and that's a little blurry. So, this is how you adjust the upper tension. And if you need to, you can adjust the lower tension. But before... and you need the manual, you should follow what it says in the manual to do that. But before you start fiddling with the bobbin case tension, you want to make sure you have it threaded correctly, that you have the upper tension correct, that you have the needle in correct, and that on a 15 you have it threaded from the right to the left. Now the other comment that is on the 99 once you find out what model you have and you have the manual, you should be able to do the same type of little checks on the machine and the way it's threaded and everything, so that you also can fix any tension issue you might be having. And I'm sorry the comments aren't showing up, that my replies. I replied yesterday, and they're not showing up, so I don't know. YouTube came out with a new version of their Creator Studio. Maybe that's what's delaying it. But this is a 1588. And I've also addressed a question that was posted on the 9913.